Greetings, friends. In today's video, we're diving into one of the most debated topics in biblical interpretation, Isaiah 7 verse 14. If you've ever heard the claim that this verse foretells the virgin birth of Jesus, you're not alone. Christian missionaries frequently point to it as evidence of their theological beliefs. But does this verse actually say what they claim? Today, we're going to break it all down. We'll explore the original Hebrew text, dissect the terms almah and betula, and provide the historical and contextual background of the 7th chapter of Isaiah. Spoiler alert, it's not a prophecy about Jesus. So, let's get into it and uncover the truth behind this often misinterpreted verse. Let's begin with how Isaiah 7 verse 14 appears in many popular Christian translations, such as the New International Version. Therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel. At first glance, this verse might seem to validate the Christian claim that it predicts the virgin birth of Jesus. The use of the word virgin here aligns with the theological emphasis on Jesus' miraculous conception. For many Christians, this translation serves as evidence that Isaiah foresaw the birth of Jesus centuries before it occurred. But does it really say that? Let's look at the original Hebrew text. It says, "Therefore my Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the young woman is pregnant and will bear a son, and she will call his name Emmanuel." The critical difference lies in the translation of the word almah. Unlike the NIV's rendering of virgin, the Hebrew almah simply means young woman and does not inherently imply virginity. This mistranslation has been pivotal in shaping Christian interpretations of the text, but it doesn't align with the original Hebrew meaning. So, does the Hebrew word almah really not mean virgin? How can we trust that we are not being taken advantage of by the translators or the rabbis trying to change the text? To understand, we must analyze the Hebrew word almah. This term appears 7 times in the Hebrew Bible and consistently refers to a young woman of marriageable age. Importantly, it does not imply virginity. One striking example comes from Proverbs 30 verses 18 to 20 in the original Hebrew. "There are 3 things that are too wondrous for me. 4 I cannot fathom: the way of an eagle in the sky, the way of a snake upon a rock, the way of a ship in the heart of the sea, and the way of a man with a woman. So is the way of an adulteress. She eats, wipes her mouth, and says, I have done no wrong." Here, in context, we see the Hebrew word almah being used to describe an adulterous woman. It is highly doubtful that the adulterous woman is a virgin. This usage makes it clear that almah does not inherently mean virgin. Instead, it emphasizes youth and readiness for marriage, without making any. If Isaiah had intended to specify a virgin, he would have used the word betula. Unlike almah, betula explicitly denotes virginity and is used in legal contexts where this distinction is critical. For example, in Deuteronomy 22 verses 13 to 15, betula appears in laws concerning accusations of a bride's virginity. If a man takes a wife and cohabits with her, and then spurns her, and makes up charges against her and defames her, saying, I took this woman, and when I approached her, I did not find proof of her virginity, the girl's father and mother shall produce the proof of the girl's virginity before the elders of the town at the gate. The choice of almah in Isaiah 7 verse 14, rather than betula, shows that virginity was not the focus of the prophecy. Instead, Isaiah emphasizes the young woman's age and role in bearing a child as a sign for King Ahaz. The key source of confusion around Isaiah 7 verse 14 comes from the Greek Septuagint. The Septuagint is an ancient Greek translation of the Torah for inclusion in the Library of Alexandria. Originally, it only translated Genesis through Deuteronomy. Other books of the Hebrew Bible, like the Book of Isaiah, were added later by different translators under varying historical influences. Christians hold the Septuagint as the only legitimate source for the Bible, claiming that the Masoretic text were altered by the rabbis. When translating Isaiah 7 verse 14, the later Greek translators rendered the Hebrew word almah as parthenos, a Greek term often translated as virgin. This translation has been a cornerstone for Christian missionary claims, as it appears to support the doctrine of the virgin birth. Here's how Isaiah 7 verse 14 appears in the Septuagint. Therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. "Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and you shall call his name Emmanuel." However, this translation reflects a later interpretive choice rather than the original intent of Isaiah's Hebrew text. The keyword parthenos does not exclusively mean virgin. Like the Hebrew almah, it can also refer to a young unmarried woman. This is evident in Genesis 34 verse 3, where the Septuagint describes Dinah after she was assaulted, and his soul was drawn to Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. He loved the young woman and spoke tenderly to her. Here, Dinah is referred to as parthenos despite the fact that she was no longer a virgin after being assaulted. This example demonstrates that parthenos cannot be exclusively understood as virgin in all contexts. This meaning is context-dependent, much like the Hebrew almah, unless there is such a gross translation error in the Septuagint. Furthermore, the fact that Isaiah was not part of the original Septuagint highlights a critical issue. The translation of Isaiah 7 verse 14 likely reflects the interpretive tendencies of later translators, not the intentions of the original Hebrew authors. These translators were working under the patronage of rulers who valued Greek cultural and linguistic frameworks. This mistranslation of almah as virgin in Isaiah 7 verse 14 illustrates how the Christians altered the text to help support their claims about Jesus. Isaiah 7 provides a prophecy rooted in a specific historical context. During this time, the nation of Israel was divided into two kingdoms, the kingdom of Judah in the south and the kingdom of Israel in the north. These two kingdoms were in significant political turmoil. The northern kingdom of Israel had allied with Syria to threaten Judah, creating an imminent crisis for King Ahaz of Judah. In response, the prophet Isaiah delivered a message to King Ahaz, reassuring him that God would protect Judah. As proof of this promise, God offered a sign, the birth of a child named Emmanuel, meaning, God is with us. This sign was not a distant prediction, but an immediate reassurance during a turbulent time. The prophecy was fulfilled when Isaiah later had a son named Emmanuel. Shortly after, Syria betrayed the kingdom of Israel, conquering it instead and leaving Judah safe from its enemies. The concept of a sign in the Hebrew Bible is central to understanding this passage. The Hebrew word for sign refers to a tangible and immediate event. For King Ahaz, this sign needed to provide reassurance in the moment, amidst the pressing political threat. A prophecy about a virgin birth centuries later would not have served this purpose. Instead, the birth of a child during Isaiah's time, likely to a young woman in the immediate context, served as a concrete confirmation of God's promise to protect Judah. Isaiah's prophecy had a clear, immediate purpose. It was intended to assure King Ahaz that Judah would survive this crisis. The child named Emmanuel symbolized God's presence and protection. Isaiah even specifies in preceding verses, "By the time he learns to reject the bad and choose the good, people will be feeding on curds and honey." For before the lad knows to reject the bad and choose the good, the ground whose two kings you dread shall be abandoned. So, this child grows old enough to discern between right and wrong. The two enemy kingdoms threatening Judah would be destroyed. Historically, this prophecy was fulfilled, further demonstrating that it was not a distant messianic prediction, but a direct response to the challenges of Isaiah's time. Isaiah 7 verse 14 is not a prophecy about a virgin birth or the coming of Jesus. The word almah simply means young woman, and the historical context shows the prophecy was fulfilled in Isaiah's time. By carefully examining the Hebrew text and understanding the influences and historical background, we can confidently refute missionary claims and uphold the integrity of the Hebrew Bible. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to check out my book. You can find the link in the description below. Your support means a lot and helps me create more content like this. See you in the next one.